At the beginning of part 2, we see that the love triangle was about to start early. Jay is telling Yuri about her life story and her relationship with her family. Yuri then shares his own background, revealing that he has a younger sister and lives with his parents in Japan. Yuri keeps glancing at Jay and admiring her as she eats. When she notices, he tries to brush it off. He asks her if she's the one helping CN, and she tells him that CN is like a brother to her, which makes him feel at ease. He then asks if she's ever been in a relationship before, and she shares that she's been in 2. The first guy turned out to be a jerk, so she broke up with him, while the second was seriously ill and ended up in a coma, which led to their breakup. Yuri thinks to himself, I think I'm starting to like her, but I can't do that because Kyer will be mad at me. He's standing outside, ready to storm in and drag me out by my red hair. Kyer calls his friends and leaves to meet them, while Jay asks Yuri if he's ever been in love. Yuri tells her that he had a one-sided crush. She teases him, saying, "What? On the school's most popular girl? Don't feel bad?" Yuri reassures her that he's moved on, and Jay laughs, joking that he's behind her. He gets startled, but then laughs at her playful attitude. She tells him she needs to leave because she left her bike outside. Yuri offers to spend the day with her and take her home afterward, and she agrees. Meanwhile, Kyer is in a terrible mood and wants to pick a fight with anyone. The situation escalates when they find out that the genius hacker couldn't break into the school's system or hack the cameras to find out who stole the money. This makes them think CN might not be such a great hacker after all, and that he's been outdone by kids. Someone suggests checking the cameras at the school itself, but Kyer shoots down the idea, saying, "Are you stupid? We're from the security department. If we get caught, we'll get a beating." He cancels that plan and orders them to proceed with a second plan, which remains a mystery. Suddenly, someone asks about Yuri, and Kyer loses his temper, saying, "Am I not enough for you?" He then decides to punish them by making them play basketball with him. Meanwhile, Yuri is the sweet one who offers to take Jay home on her bike. Jay is annoyed because she thought he'd take her home by car. She gets nervous about falling and grabs onto him, placing her hands on his stomach. He laughs and begs her to remove them because it tickles him. She moves her hands to his shoulder, but the bike loses balance, causing her to fall and get injured. Yuri, on the other hand, remains unharmed. He takes out his handkerchief and ties it around her leg, helping her stand and seating her on the bike while he walks beside her to support her. When they reach her house, he carries her inside, pretending she's exhausted. From their misfortune, Jay's grandmother arrives home and sees them. She scolds Yuri, saying, "Put her down, son. You're embarrassing us in front of the neighbors." He insists that he'll stay to help. She then tells him to come inside and sit on the couch. Yuri takes the first aid kit and insists on treating Jay's injury himself. Jay clings to her grandmother because of the pain, but Yuri's gentle touch feels soothing, and she barely notices the pain until he finishes. Jay's grandmother, who's observant, notices that they make a good pair. She asks, "Are you her boyfriend?" Jay quickly denies it, but the grandmother insists that they seem like they're dating. Yuri gets embarrassed, his face turning as red as his hair. Jay explains that they're just classmates, but the grandmother insists that Yuri stay and spend the day with them. Iris, who's not a fan of this, tries to kick him out, but the grandmother is persistent and insists that he stay for dinner. When Iris objects again, the grandmother grabs him by the ear and tells him to behave, warning him not to cause trouble. Everyone standing around gets scared because they know not to mess with her. During dinner, the grandmother interrogates Yuri about his family and is pleased to learn that his family is Japanese and lives there. She asks him to say a few words in Japanese to show off her skills, and she seems pleased to learn that Yuri comes from a wealthy family. Meanwhile, Iris still doesn't like him and asks Jay to kick him out after dinner. She ignores him and leaves him barking like a dog, while Yuri takes the peas from her plate because he loves them. In return, she takes the potatoes, and it's like they're sharing a mutual understanding. The grandmother notices all of this silently and comments that Jay should learn to cook what Yuri likes because, "You two seem like you're going to get married. I can sense there's something between you." The problem, my friends, is that Yuri is glowing and feels like the grandmother really understands things. Suddenly, Jay receives a message from Kyer, but she ignores it and stays focused on Yuri. After they finish eating, Jay walks Yuri out. We notice that his car arrived to pick him up, and they laugh together. Yuri feels happy when she tells him, "Good night." He stands there, looking like hearts and fireworks are going off, and honestly, she reminds me of Suho from True Beauty. If anyone else sees the resemblance, comment below because I don't want to feel like I'm the only one. After Yuri leaves, Jay remembers Kyefer's message and opens it, discovering that they've changed the plan. The next day at school, Jay is surprised when one of Kyefer's crew stops her from entering the classroom. But our girl, like a pro, distracts him with food, sneaks past him, and sees that they've cornered the girl with the backpack and are beating up her boyfriend, trying to make him confess. Jay yells at Kyer and tells him to stop because they're not going to get a confession this way, and if the school finds out, there will be big trouble. She insists that kindness works better in situations like this. Sure enough, after they release the girl, she checks on her boyfriend and eventually says she'll confess. But before she can speak, fear stops her. Jay is ready to pull her hair out, but the guys hold her back and say, "Not everything works with kindness." Kyer finds Jay's attitude irritating and orders his guys to hold her back while he deals with the boyfriend himself. And as you know, Kyefer's muscles could send someone straight to Mars with one hit. Fearing for her boyfriend, the girl confesses, saying that CN is innocent and that someone else asked her to frame him. She's too scared to reveal who it is. Suddenly, Rocky steps out from behind and reveals that she recorded the confession. Jay realizes this must be the second plan. Jay looks surprised, but Reiki says, "I came here for you." CN interrupts, saying, "No, she's lying. She came for me. She still loves me." And of course, all the guys standing around cheer him on. They take the video of the confession and give it to their hacker friend, who uploads it to the bully's account, making it look like she confessed to being the mastermind behind the scheme. When the bully finds out, she gets angry and suspects Keiko, the only one with her password. She confronts Keiko, who says, "Are you stupid? I've been here the whole time. How could I have done that?" She starts searching the school for the real culprit. Meanwhile, Kyer calmly tells Jay, "I solved the problem with CN, so you should thank me." When she refuses, he tells her to pay him for his work. When she refuses again, he says, "Then I want something else," giving her a sly look. Jay stands her ground, thinking, "No way. There's nothing more valuable than honor." Kyer laughs and says, "Seriously? You think I'd look at you like that? I was talking about the food in your bag." He then gives her 3 options. Either you pay me $25,000, thank me properly, or bring me food every day until we graduate. Jay tries to negotiate the cost of the ingredients since she'll be paying out of her own pocket. Kyer distracts her, steals her food, and runs off, leaving her cursing him out. When she turns around, she finds Yuri, the gentle one, waiting for her with food. They head to their usual spot, where they find CN and David waiting for them to eat together. Jay asks about Mika and Calyx, and they explain that they're in the next room because they don't want to disturb them since they're a couple. Jay acts nonchalant and shares her food with CN and David. Yuri is touched by her kindness, so he surprises her with a luxurious meal that she's never had in her life. When she struggles to eat it, he takes the opportunity to feed her himself. She finds it delicious, but she invites the guys to try some too, worried that CN might be eyeing the food. The guys suddenly ask her, "If Kyer and Eris fought, who would you side with?" Jay feels conflicted, but Yuri tells her to eat and think about it later because her answer is important. The next day, as Jay heads to school, a new guy with blue eyes and perfect English offers her a ride because she's carrying a lot of stuff. She refuses, thinking, "Just because he's handsome and speaks English fluently doesn't mean I should agree." Right after, Yuri arrives in his fancy car and offers her a ride instead. She accepts and, during the ride, asks him how he happened to pass by her street when he doesn't live there. Clearly he came for her, but he lies, saying he was running an errand. He offers to help her carry her things, but she refuses, saying, "No way, this food is for that fool Kyer." Just then, Kyer shows up, steals the bag, and runs into the classroom. There's no need to explain what happens next. When the hungry guys find food, they raid it immediately. Jay gets angry and starts cursing at Kyer, blaming him for everything. She sits down when the teacher enters the class and announces that the school festival is coming up and everyone needs to prepare. Jay is confused, so they explain that it's a week-long celebration filled with activities, games, and even beauty contests. Of course, the school bully has been winning the contest every year. Each department has a responsibility, and Kyefer's group is assigned to guard and clean the place. Because of this, Kyer refuses to participate in the festival, feeling that it's humiliating to be seen as servants for other departments. But Jay disagrees and wants to participate to bring something new to the festival. Kyer protests, and they argue. The class ends up divided. Some side with Kyer because they're scared of him and agree with his logic, while others side with Jay, tempted by the promise of lots of food at the festival and the possibility of meeting beautiful girls. The teacher steps in and tells them to calm down, work out an agreement, and let him know their decision. During the break, Jay walks with CN, who suggests they have lunch together alone. Jay, realizing he's being flirty, gets annoyed and calls Yuri instead. She tells Yuri she'll join him and the others shortly, then takes Kyfer's lunchbox to give it back to him. Kyer is obviously jealous and doesn't want her to leave. He orders her to eat lunch there with him, and when she refuses, he calls the rest of the group over and makes them eat there too, forcing Jay to stay. Fortunately for Jay, she ends up sitting next to Yuri. The rest of the group looks on hungrily, wanting to steal food, but Kyer warns them that from now on, stealing food is banned. Everyone has to bring their own. Kyer then sits between Jay and Yuri, thinking it'll make Jay focus on him, but she completely ignores him, feeling sorry for the rest of the guys who don't have food. Jay suggests cooking food for everyone since there's a kitchen nearby, but Kyer yells at her not to touch the equipment because it belongs to one of their friends. The surprise is that the owner is a boy named Eamon, who can't attend school because he works at his father's restaurant. Unfortunately, his family is in debt because his mother spends all the money they earn recklessly. Jay feels bad for Eamon and tells her friends that they should visit him. Kyer warns her not to interfere in people's lives, but the rest of the group insists on going, so he has no choice but to go along with it. When they arrive at the restaurant, they notice that the place is empty. Eamon explains that he plans to quit school because if he doesn't pay off the debt soon, the restaurant will be shut down. Jay suggests that they work there to help improve the restaurant's income, and they agree not to take any pay. Once they start working, the number of customers increases dramatically thanks to Yuri's popularity. Despite this, Yuri keeps scowling at the customers until Jay pulls him aside and says, "Smile a little, your smile is charming." He listens to her, and as soon as he smiles, the customers cheer in excitement. The girls' reactions are relatable and hilarious. Kyer starts to get jealous, feeling like Yuri is stealing the spotlight and Jay's attention. The rivalry escalates, and both of them try to outdo each other. Yuri starts taking selfies with customers, so Kyer raises the stakes by letting customers touch his muscles. The situation gets out of control. Everyone's losing their minds, wondering where manners and decency went. Jay stands there happily, watching as Yuri shows off his muscles to the customers. The girls in the restaurant are losing their minds, and Yuri has muscles that no one seems able to ignore. Kyer can't stand being outdone, and the competition continues until nighttime. Suddenly, Kyer burns his hand on some hot food. Jay is standing next to him, so she tells him to rest and brings him the first aid kit. She takes care of his burn, and Kyer starts melting, his face practically turning into a heart. After a moment, he snaps out of it and blames her, saying, "This wouldn't have happened if we hadn't come here." Jay thanks him for everything he did today, including helping CN. The atmosphere calms down, but then Aris, Keela, the bully, and their group show up at the restaurant, gathering together with a suspicious look in their eyes. The group was standing around facing each other, almost like a standoff between turkeys, and we thought a showdown was about to happen. But nothing happened because the bully just said, "Take it easy, guys." Then she called the heroes to order food, and we noticed that Yuri wasn't fond of them. Before he could reach out, he ran inside to avoid any problems. Kyer tried to keep things calm to prevent anything from happening. Outside, the bully mocked Jay, saying, "If you're working as a waitress, it suits you." Her friend also mocked Kyer, saying, "Aren't you from a rich family? What's with this downfall? You look like you're struggling." Jay didn't stay silent, letting them know that they worked hard and weren't spoiled like them. She also called Mika over to irritate the bully, showing her that her friend was working with them. She asked Micah and Calix to take the orders, threatening that if she stayed another second, she might drag the bully by her hair. But Kyer intervened and said, "No, I want you to take the orders." He put his hand on her shoulder and pulled her towards him, and of course, our girl felt flustered, thinking, "With all these muscles around me, I might faint." They started taking orders, and when it came to Kyfer's turn, Jay moved as if he were her cousin. She brushed Kiefer's hand aside, acting like he hadn't noticed her from earlier. Kiefer decided to tease her back, saying, "What would you like, my love? What do you want, my dear?" Kiefer stood there like a lion, unaffected. The heroes informed them that the food would arrive shortly. Suddenly, Keiko received a message from someone named Rome, but he ignored it. Meanwhile, Kiefer and Calix went into the kitchen. Calix mentioned that Jay and Kiefer had a strange relationship, and they seemed to dislike each other. He suggested that if they continued with their plan and something happened to Jay, Kiefer wouldn't be affected. He proposed changing the plan to remove Jay from it, and Kiefer started to consider it. During this time, Jay found Keiko asking her out. She was shocked, but he said Kiefer didn't know anything and was waiting for her answer. Then David entered, yelling at Keiko for acting cold towards her. It seemed like there was tension between them. Jay tried to control the situation by pulling David aside, pretending there was work to be done. Keiko watched her and said, "I'm still waiting for your answer, beautiful." When she and David went inside, he exposed her in front of everyone, asking, "Are you going out with Keiko?" Everyone was shocked, especially Kiefer, who asked, "Do you like him?" She denied it, and before they could corner her any further, she ran out. Kiefer got angry and sensed that Keiko had plans for Jay, which worried him. Jay later asked Mossy if there were any issues between David and Keiko. He said he didn't like gossip, but informed her that they had once been in a fight at an abandoned factory. When they arrived, David was severely injured while Keiko was holding a pipe, leaving everyone unsure if he was responsible for hurting David. At that time, David was the department head and had a policy of, "Stay out of trouble, my dear." Since he did nothing during the incident, most students thought he was a coward. When Kiefer became the leader, everyone was happy, knowing he was brave and wouldn't let things slide. Kiefer teased her about liking Keiko, and when she denied it, he jokingly asked if she liked him instead. She threatened to steal his pie, and he stuck his tongue out at her. That night, Yuri escorted her home, concerned that it was late. He said, "Why do you look so tense? Relax a little, I'm feeling protective." It was clear he was happy with any time he spent with her and reminded her not to forget their plans. Afterward, he got into his car, which he jokingly claimed would be hers in the future, and drove off. Suddenly, Keiko appeared, startling Jay, who thought he was a ghost. Keiko explained that he wanted her number, but Iris refused to give it. He said he was a respectable man who wanted to do things the right way and intended to propose to her. Jay felt overwhelmed by the rapid development of their relationship. Iris then intervened, saying there would be no engagement. Keiko tried to reason with him, saying, "I'm your friend," but Iris replied, "Because you're my friend, I'm not allowing it." He further declared that Jay wasn't permitted to date or go out with anyone and kicked Keiko out. He told Jay to respect herself, reminding her that her boyfriend was still in the hospital while she was hanging around other guys. The next day, Jay left the house, anxiously looking around to make sure Keiko wasn't following her. However, she was startled by Kiefer, who joked, "Looks like you were expecting someone else." She tried to change the subject, asking him what he was doing there. He informed her that he was taking her to a meeting with the group since she was late. He drove her in his extremely fancy car, which Jay couldn't stop staring at. She started eating, and he was hungry too. Kiefer couldn't help himself, took a bite, and accidentally bit her finger. Jay was shocked, while Kiefer happily joked, "I didn't have breakfast because I was busy picking you up. You should repay me." He asked her again if she liked Keiko, and when she denied it, he warned her that he couldn't stand liars and would hang her out to dry if she lied. Jay was lost in her thoughts. After finishing breakfast, she looked at her finger, clearly still surprised. When they arrived at the restaurant, the whole group was there. Emma informed them that his father had fully recovered and would be managing the place again. This meant he could return to school, and his mother, who had changed her ways, had taken leave to help his father. They decided to rehire the former employees, which meant the group would have more time to focus on studying, though they joked that they never really studied in the first place. Iman decided to reward everyone by letting them cook at school to make up for all the food they had missed. He asked Jay to help out since she was always ready to sacrifice, and she agreed. After that, everyone started working since the customers were about to arrive, except for Jay, who said she was hungry and wanted to have breakfast first. Kiefer, the soft-hearted one, told Micah to get her the menu so she could order whatever she wanted, adding, "She's paying for herself." Jay cursed him in her mind, thinking, "You scoundrel, I thought you'd pay for me." Kiefer then laughed, saying he was joking and that he'd actually treat her, which made her happy. Meanwhile, Yuri stood there feeling sad, thinking she was slipping away from him. The next day, Jay was having breakfast when someone from the service informed her that a colleague was waiting for her outside and that if she took too long, he'd hang her out to dry. Jay guessed it must be Kyer, the fool, and went out ready for a fight, only to find 4 handsome men waiting for her. Now, those are the kind of men who are worth a second look. They told her she needed to come with them to buy the ingredients for the school. She asked them to wait while she changed, and one of them said, "You look amazing as you are." Jay cursed him, but Kyer agreed, saying, "He's right, you're beautiful." And secretly, our girl melted a little. We can't blame her, we did too. As they got into the car, Yuri watched them with jealousy that could kill. They arrived at the shop and bought enough supplies to feed a whole tribe. Jay carried heavy bags, complaining, "Doesn't anyone have a conscience to help me?" Yuri was about to take the bags, but Kyer beat him to it. Yuri felt upset and offered to help with the remaining bags, but Jay refused, insisting she was strong enough to handle it herself. The next day at school, Jay was tired and wanted to sleep. Yuri suddenly scared her from behind. She was surprised by his appearance and noticed he'd removed his glasses and put on contacts. She told him he looked great, thinking, "My man looks amazing with or without glasses." At that moment, Kyer felt jealous, and when they went to class, Jay found Saigon sleeping and tried to wake him up. Aman stopped her, saying, "Leave him, he's like a rock, you can't wake him." They started cleaning the kitchen to store their supplies, and Jay noticed a box labeled with the name Kyer. She asked what happened, and they told her Kyer was a nice girl, but when she got angry, she was a demon. Once she pulled a girl's hair and injured her, and the school wanted to expel her. Instead, they transferred her here. Jay was surprised and asked how Kyer returned after everything that happened. Kyer interrupted her, saying, "It's none of your business." He whispered, "Curiosity killed the cat," and added, "Got it, kitten," before leaving. Jay felt scared but remembered how he held her hand that morning and forgot everything he did. "I told you, the hook is set." Jay started working, taking out the trash, when she noticed one of the guys acting strangely. She went to where he had been standing and found something unusual, though it wasn't clear what it was. Her curiosity got the better of her, but she couldn't ask because everyone was eating lunch. Yuri noticed something was off and asked if she was okay. Kyer, keeping an eye on everything, seemed suspicious. David then appeared injured, and all the guys gathered around him, telling the girls to stay away. Of course, Jay and Mika eavesdropped, trying to figure out what was happening, but they failed. Jay started suspecting something was wrong since the boys were acting secretive. When they saw her, they scattered, making her feel that nobody was going to tell her anything. She took advantage of the group's focus on Kyer to talk to David and asked, "Come on, as your close friend, tell me what happened." David explained that Keiko had announced he was going to propose to her, and David couldn't stand it, so they fought over her. Jay assured him she'd fix things between them, but David refused her help. Kyer then ordered the guys to escort her out, saying, "She's going to make things worse." Cian was tasked to take her away, saying, "Let's go. There are dishes waiting for you." They ended up washing dishes together. Jay asked him to spill the details, but Cian said, "You know I'm not into gossip," and eventually confessed that the guys were planning something to get David's justice. He begged her not to pressure him any further, then ran out. A while later, Kyer entered and asked, "What are you doing here, miss?" She asked him the same thing. Kyer explained that it was the men's bathroom and that he had every right to be there. Jay argued it wasn't her fault that the girls' bathroom was out of order. He asked her for the millionth time if she liked Keiko, and she denied it. Kyer pulled her closer, looked into her eyes and said, "Say it to my face." She told him it was none of his business and asked why he cared so much. Embarrassed, he couldn't respond, flipped the conversation and accused her of caring about him. Jay explained that she was trying to resolve the problems between the guys. Later that day, the group gathered and warned Jay not to follow them. Her curiosity got the best of her, so she tricked Eamon and slipped away, following them silently. They entered an abandoned building and Jay snuck in, hiding behind some wood. Suddenly, someone grabbed her from behind and covered her mouth. Our guys called out to Keiko, who arrived with his crew. Let's be honest, Keiko's muscles are impressive. A fight was about to break out between Keiko and David to settle things once and for all. David took off his jacket, showing off his muscles, ready to fight. But before they could do anything, someone from above stopped them and asked Kyer, "Don't you know who's behind this?" They realized it was Ram, the gang leader they'd clashed with before. Ram revealed that he brought Jay to watch the showdown. When they tried to argue, Ram said, "Calm down, guys, I have a surprise." He brought out Jay, holding her and asking, "What's your name, beautiful?" The guys warned him to let her go, but Ram declared that no one could make him. Jay headbutted him and made a run for it, jumping from above. All the guys chased after her. We see gangs who successfully kidnapping Jay. This happens when she was in a fight with Kiko's gang because she was challenging them. However, Jay retaliates and starts attacking them. She jumps toward them immediately, shocking them. At that moment, she recalls what happened and wonders if something had happened to her, as she doesn't even remember passing out. The three of them look at her as if she's crazy because they weren't even able to catch her at the time, and she could have gotten seriously hurt. Kyer is extremely worried about her. As time passes, he checks on her immediately to make sure she's okay. They don't want her to act recklessly like that again because they were genuinely scared for her. Meanwhile, Sean seems to be lost in his own world, believing that she was flying. Jay apologizes to him, and they try to escape from the second gang's territory. They all see her as weak, which is why they target her, especially since they've fought against her before. She blames them for dragging her into this situation, and she decides to have a one-on-one talk with Kiko. Kiko is happy about this, and everyone else decides to leave them alone. Kyer doesn't want to leave, but he does anyway, keeping an eye on them. Kiko sits beside her and tells her not to listen to what David said. Jay makes it clear that she isn't interested in any relationships at the moment, and it has nothing to do with Kiko personally. She just prefers it that way. He accepts her decision, but it makes him sad, so he quickly leaves, feeling down. Meanwhile, David insists on escorting Jay home to ensure her safety. Kyer is still upset, but follows behind her. Jay realizes he wants to say something, so she apologizes for what happened. However, he only cares about her well-being and doesn't want her to get hurt. She wants to understand everything that's going on, including why Kiko was involved in a fight to the death. It turns out that Kiko was once the leader, but someone challenged and defeated him. Since then, he has been cautious, even using a pipe to fight back and prove himself. They don't trust Kiko or anyone who follows him. Jay is happy that they care about her and want to protect her, especially if Kiko ever resurfaces. She wonders if she would ever agree to a relationship if someone wanted to be with her. She suspects Kyer has feelings for her, but she denies it to herself and leaves, trying to calm down. Later, she arrives home late, and everyone is worried about her. She tells them she hit her head. Angelo informs her that he left earlier to handle a work issue. He also tells her that she has to spend the night with Eris in the only available room, meaning they need to get along. Suddenly, Phony calls, and Eris explains everything that happened between them and how she should handle it. When Jay sees a pregnancy test, she assumes it belongs to her and that it might be Kyer's child. She recalls the moment she first saw it and then learns that it actually belongs to Denzel's girlfriend, who is pregnant. Angelo confronts Kyer about it, shocking him. They assume Jay is pregnant with Kyer's child. This causes tension, especially between Eris and Jay, as Jay keeps making things difficult for him. Angelo doesn't want this issue to affect their family's reputation, so they try to clarify everything. Kyer is called in, and they all gather to confirm whether Jay is actually pregnant or not. Jay realizes that no one is truly on her side. She later speaks with Kyer's father, who is also upset. Suddenly, the doctor arrives and confirms that Jay is not pregnant. The test results are negative. Everyone feels relieved, though they are also embarrassed by the misunderstanding. Kyer can't stop laughing at the situation. Jay walks away, and Kyer follows her. He apologizes on behalf of Kyer, but she refuses to accept it. She's tired of the problems he always causes for her. Kyer tries to resolve everything, but when he comes out, Jay immediately punches him because she's still angry at him for taking advantage of the situation. The next day, everyone finds out that Jay punched Kyer, leaving a mark on his face. Meanwhile, she starts giving Senko advice on how to be good to Mika. However, the others gossip about her. When Kyer finally speaks to Jay, he tells her it was all just a prank. She realizes he has been causing her problems all along, and they end up in another argument. Despite their conflicts, Jay eventually sits beside Kyer, reflecting on whether he will ever apologize properly. They still can't get along and keep clashing, but eventually, everyone gathers to discuss everything. The first group to speak is Freya's, which is well organized. Each section starts listing their strengths, but in reality, none of them have anything special. They begin planning their next steps and suggesting ideas while Jay watches in surprise. When it comes to their own section, they realize they have nothing prepared. So, they decide to divide tasks, wondering what their section is supposed to do. They end up choosing to collect masks and guard the area. However, their teacher announces a change in the competition. The girls must dress like boys and vice versa, and then the most attractive person in each section will be chosen. Because of this, Freya makes Section E join them in the competition. However, she deliberately tries to make them look bad. As time passes, they get into an argument over the food that Iman is preparing. Jay steps in to organize everything while Kyer sits nearby, as usual, trying to get closer to her. Meanwhile, Jay notices Denzel, who is sitting alone and looking sad because his girlfriend is pregnant. She approaches him, noticing that he isn't eating as he normally would. She encourages him to eat, assuming he must be overthinking things. However, Denzel jokes that he is the one who is pregnant. Jay, being naive, believes him for a moment before realizing he's joking, which annoys her. She takes his food and walks away while he simply starts eating. At the same time, another girl from the second section who is dating Denzel begs him to acknowledge their child. However, he keeps rejecting her. Suddenly, Jay arrives, yelling at the girl, which makes Denzel step in to defend her. Jay assumes that he prioritizes his girlfriend over her and that he is rejecting the baby because of her. She forces him to talk to the girl properly, reminding him that he is the reason for this situation and needs to take responsibility. Later, Jay tries to convince Denzel to acknowledge the child, but the girl keeps crying. Jay steps in to comfort her, realizing that she is an orphan and has no family. That's why Denzel refuses to be with her. He doesn't want the responsibility. Jay continues trying to console her as best as she can, but the whole situation becomes overwhelming. Later in class, Denzel is still ignoring the girl, and Jay wonders how to get through to him. She thinks about asking Angelo for help, but it would be difficult to get him involved. She also considers Yuri, but she isn't sure if he would agree. Then she thinks of David. Maybe he is the right person to talk to Denzel. Jay immediately goes to find David and they decide to eat together. David jokingly suggests they go on a date and Sean overhears them, making a big deal out of it. No one believes it at first, but eventually they all assume it's true. Many people, especially Kyer, seem upset about it. Time passes and the three of them go to an amusement park together. They have fun, scream on the rides, and enjoy themselves. However, Sean gets motion sickness, leading to an argument with Jay. They start playfully chasing each other around the park. Sean wants to go on the rides again, but they decide to take a break and get some food instead. Meanwhile, David and Jay sit together, which she didn't expect. She wanted to talk to him seriously, mainly to find out if his girlfriend was pregnant. She doesn't want anyone to find out what's happening, but she suspects that Denzel refused to be with Chris because of something he overheard. Jay realizes Denzel is struggling to take this step. As the class keeps watching the situation unfold, Jay thinks about who might be able to convince him. Then David reveals that all their classmates are secretly observing them, even though they are hiding. To reveal them, he tells Jay to close her eyes. When she does, the hidden students finally show themselves. David takes the opportunity to touch her, and just as he is about to kiss her, everyone rushes forward, stopping him because he already has a girlfriend. This causes a lot of drama. Sean and the others also show up, scolding David for even attempting that. Freya is particularly furious, believing David had no right to do it. His reaction makes them realize that he is more upset than they expected, especially since Kyer had already been getting close to Jay. Later, they decide to enter a haunted house. Jay is terrified and refuses to go in, but everyone insists. They take pictures together to remember the moment. Once inside, Jay gets even more scared, especially since she is stuck with Sean. Everyone is frightened because they aren't used to haunted houses. One by one, they go through different terrifying moments. Jay, trying to be brave, holds on to Sean, who is barely keeping it together himself. They walk through the haunted house until they reach a specific area where everyone suddenly gets scared again. Then, out of nowhere, they realize one of their friends has disappeared. She ran off alone, lost inside the haunted house. Jay is terrified when she sees a vampire and starts crying uncontrollably. The sight brings back old memories, making her even more emotional. Kyer immediately steps in to comfort her as she has a full-blown panic attack. She hadn't wanted to enter the haunted house in the first place, and now she is overwhelmed with fear. Kyer stays by her side, trying to calm her down as much as possible, and he manages to reassure her. He promises that he won't leave her, leading them both to exit the haunted house together. But suddenly, Jay runs off alone again, and she and Kyer start calling out for each other. Though she tries to steady herself, the place is still terrifying. Just then, Kyer finds her and immediately pulls her into a hug. She hugs him back, and in that moment, it's clear that Kyer truly loves her. However, they quickly separate when their friends arrive. As they rejoin the group, everyone starts teasing them, convinced that something must have happened between them. Jay, however, is eager to go on the rides again. At first, Kyer refuses, but when he sees how much she wants to, he gives in just to make her happy. He decides to enjoy the moment with the group, but Yuri watches closely, growing more and more irritated. Kyer keeps getting closer to Jay, and Yuri doesn't like it because he loves her. While waiting for their turn, Jay notices that Yuri knows some of the people nearby. They seem to really like him, and he quickly walks away. Meanwhile, the new group persuades others to let them go ahead in line, which impresses Jay. She thinks they're crazy but skilled at persuasion. Kyer, with just one charming smile, easily gets his way, proving he can manipulate situations effortlessly. They finally board the Ferris wheel, and Kyer insists on sitting next to Jay. This upsets the others since it leaves them without a seat. The four of them ride together, and Jay starts suspecting that Yuri is here to confess to the girl he likes. However, he laughs it off as a joke. They take photos together, but Yuri grows increasingly annoyed because Kyer is staying too close to Jay. Suddenly, the Ferris wheel stops high above the ground due to a malfunction. Jay panics and immediately clings to Kyer, urging him to do something. They remain stuck for a while until the issue is resolved. Meanwhile, Eris calls, worried that Jay is taking too long, and asks Angelo to check on her. But before Jay can answer, Kyer takes her phone, frustrating Eris even more. Eris already dislikes Kyer, and this only makes things worse. In the end, he comes to pick her up himself, while Yuri remains upset. Elsewhere, the other students continue playing games and enjoying the city, having a great time. Meanwhile, Jay and her group are still hanging out when the fireworks start. She is completely mesmerized, her eyes shining with excitement. In that moment, she looks like a child, filled with pure joy, and Kyer can't take his eyes off her. She keeps moving, eager to see more, and tries to take pictures, but then realizes Kyer still has her phone. This leads to an argument between them, and in the midst of their struggle, she suddenly falls into his arms. She tries to pull away, but he refuses to let her go. He also doesn't want Yuri to see her happy with someone else. Frustrated, she leaves, while the others laugh at them. Soon after, Eris arrives, visibly irritated by how close she has been getting to Kyer. Their friends warn her not to get involved with anyone from Section A or develop feelings for Kyer. This makes her reflect on everything that has happened between them, how he has always been there for her and helped her countless times. But she still denies her feelings and walks away. Later, she unexpectedly finds herself at David's house and is surprised by the place he lives in. David's father is there and immediately calls Denzel. Kyer is equally surprised to see her, but realizes she wants to talk. The atmosphere becomes tense, and suddenly, Denzel reveals the truth about their harsh and poor lifestyle. He explains that they work in their home to make a living, and he has always used this as an excuse to keep his distance from his girlfriend Grace. Even though he and Grace love each other, he has never been able to fully accept their relationship. He constantly feels guilty, especially since Grace is always buying him expensive gifts. He originally wanted to keep their relationship a secret, but after the pregnancy, he found himself stuck, unable to take responsibility, yet terrified of losing her. He admits he loves her deeply, but fears the consequences. Just then, Grace arrives, tears streaming down her face. Jay watches as she cries, understanding her pain. She realizes Grace has been hurt by the person she loves. Overcome with emotion, Grace runs away, only to crash into Kyer. He chases after her, but Jay also following her. When she sees Kyer at the place, she stares intently, her mind racing. However, she keeps going, not wanting to let her emotions get the best of her. Denzel's girlfriend stands on the edge of a rooftop, ready to jump, while everyone desperately tries to stop her, especially Jay, who pleads with her not to do it. Kyer, noticing her hesitation, tells everyone to let her be, shocking Jay. In the end, Kyer is right. Denzel's girlfriend hesitates and falls straight into Denzel's arms, where he comforts her, promising never to leave. The moment is so touching that even the onlookers feel their loneliness. The next day at school, Yuri notices Jay looking troubled. Meanwhile, Felix is frustrated. His brother got into serious trouble because of Denzel, and he feels overlooked. Later, Jay finds him playing basketball in his secret spot, but when she cheers for him, he snaps, tired of everyone meddling. He later apologizes, admitting that he's just overwhelmed. Jay asks him to join the festival's basketball event, but he refuses because of his rivalry with Denzel. Tensions between Denzel and Felix worry the group, especially Yuri, who grows jealous of how close Jay and Felix are. Later, Jay stumbles upon CN and a friend at a mechanic shop where they joke about her and CN joining a festival costume contest. Their fun is cut short when a gang suddenly kidnaps Jay, revealing Ram as the mastermind. Ram sends a video taunting the group, allowing only 4 of them to come to her rescue. Yuri, enraged, smashes a chair, while Kyer tells him to save his energy for the fight. Kyer, CN, David, and Yuri head to the hideout. While waiting, Yuri questions Kyer about Jay, implying he has feelings for her. Kyer denies it, but it's obvious he's lying. When they arrive, they find Ram holding Jay hostage. A brawl erupts, with reinforcements arriving on both sides. Kyer fights his way to Jay but gets attacked. Ram mocks him for being weak, making Jay cry. Kyer reassures her, but Ram cruelly taunts them. Jay, enraged, frees herself and smashes Ram over the head. When he retaliates and slaps her, something inside her snaps. She overpowers Ram and beats him mercilessly. Once he's down, Kyer pulls her into his arms, comforting her. He wipes her tears and kisses her forehead, teasing, "I get jealous easily." As the others arrive, Yuri's expression darkens at the sight of them together. They rush Jay to the hospital, where Kyer stays by her side, waiting for her to wake up. Denzel's powerful uncle arrives and pulls Kyer aside for a private talk, while Eris sits next to Denzel, hoping she wakes up. The moment he touches her forehead, she stirs awake. Maybe those infamous eyebrows of his do have magic. But the first thing she asks for is Kyer. He enters just as Kurz's brother pulls him outside for another conversation. Inside, the guys gather around Denzel, relieved. CN, ever dramatic, cries and clings to her, but she rolls her eyes, telling him to stop. Meanwhile, Kurz's brother scolds him for standing by while she was kidnapped, while Kyer, the one who actually saved her, isn't even family. Before leaving, Denzel's uncle warns Kyer to take care of her. Then, Kurz is stunned to see Denzel's mother, his aunt, arrive. She hugs him, but he rejects her, asking why she's back after all these years. She tells him she came to check on her daughter and announce her upcoming marriage. Kurz scoffs, "Another one? How many more men do you need to go through?" She then asks if he's told Denzel the truth about their family secret. His expression darkens, but he says he's waiting for the right time. Clearly, whatever this secret is, it's serious. The next day, Denzel arrives at school feeling down, but her chaotic group of friends refuses to let her sulk. They bring her a cute dessert to cheer her up, and she smiles, until she tries to eat and realizes her hands are too sore. Yuri, ever opportunistic, offers to massage them and holds on way too long. He even jokes, "You know, my hands hurt too," still not letting go. The guys start talking about the festival again, suggesting that Denzel and CN should pair up for the costume contest. She also finds out they used to have a band, so she suggests they reunite for the singing competition. Just then, Kyer walks in, and he does not like what he sees. Yuri is still holding her hands. Kyer, clearly annoyed, says, "Denzel, come with me. I need to talk to you." Yuri looks disappointed, knowing exactly what's going on. Kyer takes Denzel to a hidden music room filled with photos, memories, and trophies. She's fascinated, but then she spots a picture of her uncle. Kyer explains that he was once the legendary leader of their section. Then he asks if she wants to add her own photo now that she's one of them. He laughs, and unfortunately, her heart does a little flip. She just stares at him for a second, then awkwardly thanks him. Back in class, absolute chaos erupts. The guys have thrown her a welcome back party, complete with music and dancing. Yuri is singing, the guys are wrapped in belts, dancing like maniacs. Has the school turned into a nightclub? Even worse, they actually look good. Denzel bursts into laughter, especially when CN starts singing. The real disaster strikes when Kyer joins in, throwing off his jacket and dancing while staring directly at her. And we all know what that means. Denzel, completely flustered, tells them, "You guys definitely have a future as backup dancers." The group then divides festival tasks, singing, cleaning, and dancing. Jay wonders how CN will compete in both the dance and costume contests, but the guys assure her it'll be fine. Then, they start pushing Yuri to enter the singing contest since he has the best voice. He says he'll think about it. Later, they ask Denzel who she'll go home with, Yuri or Kyer. Unwilling to pick either, she wisely decides to go alone. The next day, Denzel stops at a shop for ice cream when a man suddenly calls her name. He seems to know her, but she doesn't recognize him. He reveals that he was once married to her mother. He grabs her hand and apologizes for treating her badly when she was younger. He admits that after leaving her mother and starting a new family, guilt consumed him. The real problem? Denzel doesn't even remember him. Shaken, she pulls away and runs. Because this town is tiny, Yuri just happens to be driving by in his ridiculously expensive car. He pulls over and hugs her, trying to calm her down. She confesses that there are things about her past she doesn't remember. Yuri tells her that forgetting painful memories can be a blessing. She pulls away to wipe her tears, and then notices the tissue she's holding. It's the same one Kyer gave her when she was kidnapped. Despite everything she's been through, that moment remains fresh in her mind. Deep down, she knows why. It's because of him. As she's lost in thought, she glances up and sees Yuri's fiery red hair. "Girl, what are you doing? You're ignoring the blessing in front of you?" It looks like in the upcoming episodes, Denzel will drift closer to Kyer and further from Yuri. And that's how episode 10 ends. At the beginning of part 3, Jay is full of excitement at the festival, cheering louder than anyone. She enjoys her time until David and Calix show up to tease her, trying to take her food. She scolds them, reminding them they're rich enough to buy their own. Soon, they both leave, making Jay realize she's alone, feeling like a typical single person. To lift her mood, she buys ice cream and eyes a game she wants to play. Meanwhile, Kyer films her, annoying her at first, but then he notices she wants a teddy bear prize. He tries to win it for her, but embarrassingly fails. To make it up to her, he promises to win the upcoming music competition just for her. That night, Jay and Kyer share a security shift. She hums her favorite song, but when he asks about her mother, her mood shifts. She doesn't want to talk about her. Kyer, on the other hand, expresses the opposite sentiment. Suddenly, a classmate stumbles toward them, acting strangely. They approach him, but notice a creepy doll nearby, which sends them both screaming. Even Kyer, who tries to act fearless, bolts in terror. The next day, their school competes in a basketball match against a rival team. Their team struggles at first, but Jay, sitting between Yuri and Kyer, jokes about being lucky to be surrounded by handsome guys. When a foul is finally called, their team gets a chance to turn the game around. Jay notices Felix, eager to play, and convinces the coach to put him in. He enters the game, and in the final seconds, he scores the winning shot. The team celebrates, hoisting him up, while Jay enjoys the moment with her lucky charms, Kyer and Yuri. Later, in the dorm, the guys practice dancing for an upcoming performance, with CN visibly nervous. But the moment his crush, Rocky, arrives, he gathers his confidence and takes her out on a date. Jay watches, feeling the sting of being single again. Just then, her ex, Salim, approaches, asking for a favor, but she ignores him. Meanwhile, Felix thanks Jay for convincing the coach to let him play and invites her to a secret party hosted by the basketball captain. The next day, the dance competition kicks off. Their dorm's team delivers an impressive performance, but the festival's host, a notorious bully, initially hypes them up because they're classmates. However, when she learns their team name is Jay's Warriors, she mocks them, embarrassing Jay. It turns out Kyer and Zay chose the name. Jay is speechless, but with their team already on stage, she has no choice but to accept it. To everyone's surprise, the performance is a hit. The audience cheers, but the bully refuses to acknowledge their success. Still, their flawless execution leaves no doubt that they were among the best performers. The singing competition kicks off with Rocky impressing everyone with her beautiful voice, while Jay stands in the crowd, holding hands with Denzel and another guy, because, of course, she's always in the middle of two men. When Reiki finishes, Jay searches for CN, annoyed that he left his girlfriend alone. Soon, it's Kyer's turn, and he stuns Jay by singing her favorite song, the one she told him about days ago. As she listens, memories of him flood her mind, and she has a shocking realization. She likes him. Kiefer's performance is flawless, winning over both the judges and the audience. Afterward, Yuri casually tells Jay that Kyer chose the song for her. When Kyer himself appears, he smirks and asks for a "thank you," teasing her when she mumbles it shyly. Embarrassed, she makes an excuse and rushes off. That night, while on security duty with Yuri, Jay confesses that she's struggling with feelings for someone who has hurt her before. Yuri wisely tells her, "You can't stop your heart." She jokingly calls him an expert and asks if he's in love. He admits he is, but the girl he loves is completely oblivious. Jay, being blunt, tells him to move on, but Yuri refuses. "She's special," he says, and we all know exactly who he means. The next day, CN prepares for a competition while dressed as a girl, earning laughs from everyone. Meanwhile, Jay, dressed in men's clothing, gets a message from her ex's mother. Kyer, ever the nosy one, grabs her phone but respects her privacy enough to answer the call himself. Later, disaster strikes before Yuri's solo competition. Someone lost his music. The festival's bully enjoys his misfortune, but Yuri's crew saves the day by handing him a guitar. He delivers a breathtaking performance, singing a romantic song that has couples hugging everywhere. Kyer leans over to whisper to Jay, "He's singing for the girl he loves." Shocked and overwhelmed, Jay walks away, leaving Yuri disappointed. Outside, Jay finds Denzel's ex crying. She learns that although Denzel is taking care of her for their child's sake, he refuses to get back together with her, even though she still loves him. Unable to stay quiet, Jay confronts him in front of everyone, demanding to know why. Denzel, emotional, confesses he believes his ex will never forgive him, but she overhears and steps in, saying she does love him and will forgive him if he comes back to her. They reconcile, leaving everyone feeling lonely and reflective. Jay, lost in her own emotions, finally responds to her ex's mother and decides to visit him in the hospital. When he wakes up, the first thing he asks about is her. But Jay doesn't remember what happened between them. When he desperately grabs her hand and begs her to stay, she panics and runs away. His sister follows, accusing Jay of being the reason for his suffering, leaving her even more confused. Back at school, CNA is furious at Jay for missing their competition, and Koki scolds her for ignoring his calls. Overwhelmed, Jay snaps, saying she can't always be there for everyone. She locks herself in her room, feeling emotionally drained, but Yuri, ever the kind-hearted one, refuses to leave her alone. He sits beside her and teaches her how to play the guitar. As they sit close together, tension builds. Jay zones out, staring at him, and he leans in. The moment is intense, and it's clear where things are headed. But just then, Kyer appears, watching them, with a trophy in his hand. Their team won Best Band, and he was about to give the award to Jay, just like he promised. But now, he stands there, frozen, his eyes locked on the scene. Jay panics, realizing she might be cheating on him, at least emotionally. Torn between Yuri and Kyer, she grabs her bag and flees. Meanwhile, Yuri and Kyer exchange unreadable glances. A storm is brewing, and it's clear. This love triangle is about to explode. Jay finds herself in a strange place, completely disoriented with no idea what happened to her. Faint memories begin to surface. She recalls that Keiko, the scoundrel, was getting too close to her. The thought shocks her, especially when she realizes her own blood is boiling with anger. Fear creeps in. What if what she remembers is true? She grips her head tightly, pulling at her hair in frustration, trying to recall more details. Then it all starts coming back. After Yuri got close to her and Kyer saw them together, she had run away. The next day, she went with Felix to the party they had planned to attend. Felix was happy and grateful to her. Because of her, he had returned to playing basketball again. But as soon as they arrived, they felt uneasy. The people there looked strange, their behavior even stranger. Then Keiko appeared, welcoming them in as if the place was theirs. That's when they discovered that Keiko wasn't just a guest. He was the owner of the house and the host of the party. He was already drunk and barely in control of himself. As they entered, the scene was wild, chaotic, loud, completely out of hand. Jay tried to talk to someone, but she must have looked like a fool in the crowd. Keiko grabbed a mic, thanking Felix, saying he was the reason for their victory. The whole room erupted, gathering around Felix to celebrate and take pictures with him. Meanwhile, Jay was starving. She started looking for food and eventually found some. She noticed a group of Vietnamese people eating ramen and casually told them, "Pretend I'm not here," before stealing a plate and running off. As she moved through the party, she spotted Mika standing with a strange man. Furious, she stormed over. "You traitor! If Calix finds out, do you know what he'll do to you?" The strange man turned around, and to her shock, it was Calix himself, disguised with a fake mustache and wearing filthy clothes. He explained that he had to sneak in like this because the division had banned them from attending. If Kyer found out, he'd never let it slide, and besides, he couldn't stand Keiko. He advised Jay to stay for 30 more minutes, then take Felix and leave before things got out of control. She agreed, handing her food to Mika before heading to the bathroom. When she came out, she saw a sleazy guy trying to get too close to her. Before she could react, Keiko stepped in, stopping him. "No need to get upset," he told her smoothly. He then started talking to her in a way that seemed friendly, gradually luring her in until, before she realized it, she had taken a sip from the drink he handed her. Everything started spinning. Downstairs, she found Felix lying on the floor, beaten and barely conscious. "They tricked us," he muttered. "It was all a setup to trap us. You have to run." But before he could finish, Jay's vision blurred and she collapsed. She woke up in the present, unable to remember anything more. Frustrated and scared, she decided to leave the house. Everything was strangely tidy, no people, no noise. Then, suddenly, someone approached from behind, startling her. She turned to face a young man. There was something oddly familiar about him. He reminded her of Kyer. "You should check on his little brother," he told her, explaining that Calix and his friend were outside by the swimming pool. He suggested she go meet them. Stepping outside, she saw them all sitting around, enjoying themselves, except for Felix, who looked wrecked from last night's beating. Jay ran to check on him, and he told her that the group had actually saved them. Behind her, Yuri and Kyer appeared. Kyer, arms crossed, asked coldly, "Why did you go to that party last night?" "I don't remember," she admitted. "How did you even find us?" "Calix sent a message," he replied. "He couldn't find you, and he was worried. He has a soft heart, you know. So he gathered his men and came for them." Jay's anger flared. "All right, which one of you bastards changed my clothes?" she demanded. "And did you look at me?" Kyer smirked. "Relax, we didn't see anything special." He refused to explain further, clearly amused by her flustered reaction. Meanwhile, she stood there, caught between these handsome troublemakers, unable to decide who to glare at. "Take a seat, people. The way she's staring at them, you'd think she was about to eat them alive." The guys backed off and began recounting what had happened the night before. When they arrived at the party, they searched everywhere for Jay but couldn't find her. Then Gars showed up and realized she was missing. He questioned Felix, who admitted that Keiko had taken her. But no one knew where Keiko had gone, except his friends. Gars didn't hesitate. He threatened them until they spilled the location. Then he told everyone else to stay back, because what was coming next was going to be a bloodbath. While his men carried Felix out, they started beating Keiko's crew into the ground. Once they were done, they rushed upstairs, only to find Gars already there, holding Keiko by the collar, punching him mercilessly. "That bastard was trying to touch her," Gars growled. He reassured the others that Jay was safe and stepped inside to dress her himself. Well, he is her cousin, after all. When they checked on her afterward, Gars advised them to take her away before things got worse. Kyer, ever the gentleman, carried her back to his place. And that's how she ended up here. Now, in the present, the group stood around her. Yuri smirked knowingly. "You like her, don't you?" he teased Kyer, trying to provoke him. Kyer rolled his eyes. "You're an idiot." Yuri pressed on. "You're too much of a coward to admit your feelings." He then suggested Kyer take Jay out of their plans before things got dangerous. But Kyer, stubborn as ever, refused to acknowledge his emotions. "I don't love her," he declared. "I'm sticking to my plan." His grip tightened around his cup, his frustration so intense that it cracked in his hand. Yuri fell silent for a moment, lost in thought. Back when he was on watch duty with Jay, she had asked him directly, "Do you like me? Do you have feelings for me?" he had sighed. I can't lie to you, but I also can't confess. And I won't deny it either. I don't want to lose you. Jay had been left speechless. So what now? Are we just going to dance around this forever? But she decided to let it go. Now, Kyer was the one sulking, because instead of paying attention to him, Jay was fussing over Felix. Felix, feeling guilty, apologized to her for taking her to the party and causing all this trouble. Jay, ever the kind soul, forgave him. Just then, Kyer's little brother called them in for breakfast. Everyone went inside, except for Felix, who sat there, waiting for the doctor to check him out. You really do look like crap, someone muttered. Before they go inside, Jay asks Yuri how Koki hurt his hand. He tells her that Koki got angry and smashed a glass, then warns her to stay away from Kyer's brother because he's even worse than Kyer himself. But in her mind, Jay thinks, no way, no one could be worse than that scoundrel. Just before dinner, Jay is surprised to see a little boy, Kyer's youngest brother. He's sharp and observant, immediately teasing Kyer. Nice, you brought your girlfriend. It turns out this kid is just as cunning as his older brother, considering he's dating Yuri's little sister. Naturally, everyone starts roasting him. Isn't it a bit early for this stuff? Jay grows anxious, wanting to leave quickly because she knows her family must be worried by now. Koki reassures her that they already know where she is. Trying to lighten the mood, Yuri hands the little brother a phone. Call my sister, she wants you, he jokes. Didn't we already talk about this? You're too young for this nonsense. Then he turns to the others. You guys are the real problem here, helping them out like this, you scoundrels. The next day at school, it's the last class of the term before vacation, and the school is giving them a send-off. Of course, the students, especially Jay, are celebrating. She asks Say if he actually managed to ace the exam, and he replies indifferently, "What do I care if I did or not?" Jay calls him a failure and insists there's no way he could have gotten a perfect score, so they make a deal. If he did ace it, she has to take him out for dinner, on her dime. Say refuses, so Jay raises the stakes. Fine, I'll dye my hair. He reminds her that dyed hair is against school rules. Oh, really? Then how come Yuri gets away with it? She fires back. But Say reveals, that's his real hair. Jay is stunned. Then he makes another bet. If I did ace the exam, you have to choose your favorite among us and kiss him in front of everyone. She agrees. That night, she attends a costume party for kids, and Say, ever the child at heart, is having the time of his life playing with them. At some point, Jay spots a boy who looks just like Kyer's little brother. Confused, she brushes it off until she turns around and sees the real one behind her. What are you doing here? He asks. Jay jokes around with him, but he coldly reminds her, we're not that close. Then he snatches the candy from her hands, right as Koki enters. Fill your pockets while you're at it. Didn't I teach you any better? Koki taunts. The little brother shoots back, you didn't raise me at all. Oh boy, family drama. Let's save this for home, Jay thinks. Eventually, Koki leaves and Say returns, having stolen candy from a little girl. This, of course, leads to trouble when her father confronts them. But the situation takes a weird turn when the man starts hitting on Jay, asking her out. Koki steps in, snapping, show some respect. Can't you see I'm standing right here? The man scoffs. Why? Are you her dad or something? Koki smirks. Worse, I'm her husband. The guy is so stunned that he bolts, completely forgetting whatever he was mad about. Meanwhile, Jay clutches her chest. Did I just hear that right? Koki then informs her that Kiko got expelled from school for the trouble he caused. I warned you to stay away from him, he adds. And from now on, I'm your husband. You have to listen to me. Jay is dumbfounded. Husband from which dimension exactly? Koki offers to take her somewhere quieter, away from all the noise. Later, when they return, he asks her to wait while he gets her a drink. Suddenly, a sleazy guy tries to hit on her, but before he can get close, a striking man with piercing blue eyes steps in and pushes him away. When the man introduces himself, Jay is startled. They have the same last name. He smiles. I know you must have a lot of questions, but save them for later. He takes her number before leaving. Koki returns, handing her the drink, and they sit together to watch the performances. One of the girls eyeing Koki makes Jay jealous, but she keeps her cool. No way am I letting it show. Meanwhile, Say is off shamelessly flirting with other girls. Jay scoffs. If Reiki were here, she would have dragged him away by the collar. Irritated, she nudges Koki. If you want to dance, go ahead. You seem to like the attention. Before he can respond, one of the girls pulls him onto the dance floor. Jay huffs, standing to the side like an awkward mess. She dances a little, but it's completely uncoordinated, more like a random flailing mess. Yet to Koki, it's the most entertaining thing in the world. He walks over, grinning. "You should dance with me instead." Just as they start getting into it, the music changes to a slow dance for couples. Koki leans in. "May I have this dance?" Jay hesitates, then nods. As they move, she places her hands on his shoulders. "Wow, I think I've loved him for a really, really long time." He rests his hand on her waist, pulling her close. The moment intensifies, and she loses herself in it, eventually leaning against his shoulder. Then, out of nowhere, Koki tilts her chin up and kisses her on the forehead, and at that moment Jay realizes, "I love him." Just as Koki starts leaning in closer, the screen fades to black. And to make things even worse, the next episode preview reminds us, oh right, Say actually did ace the exam. Now he's going to hound Jay about their bet to pick her favorite and kiss him in front of everyone. Will she do it, or will she chicken out? We'll find out in episode 13. We see protagonists standing there, enjoying all the romance and butterflies, and from the look in their eyes, all the hopeless singles out there can definitely feel the sting. Then she heads home. And now begins the phase of silliness, or more accurately, the early crush awkwardness, where each one says a simple word and then gets shy about it. They even find excuses to stay standing together as long as possible. So when he tells her good night, she replies, "You too." And our guy starts swooning, then leans in even closer, and boom, he kisses her on the forehead. Now hold on. What do you think this is? This is a respectable summary from a respectable lady. After what happened, she starts feeling confused about her emotions. When Kyer leaves, Kars comes out and yells at her for coming home late. She tells him, "You're not my dad, don't talk to me like that." He lets it go and just tells her to come inside behind him. But she gets more upset because to this day, she still doesn't know who her father is. When she goes into her room, she finds a new message from Kyer checking up on her. She starts jumping on the bed from happiness and sends him a message back, thanking him and wishing him sweet dreams. A couple of seconds later, her hormones start kicking in and she tells herself, "Get it together, girl. Are you seriously getting soft? This isn't our vibe." Then she gets another message, this time from Yuri, who's checking in on her and asking if she has her vacation days planned. But she ignores him, doesn't even reply. I swear I'm about to throw a slipper at her. Who ignores a red-haired cutie like that? A little later, she gets a third message, and it's like, what is this? An episode from a show or what? The message tells her that they have to meet on Monday after school. Our girl is surprised, and when she asks why, she's told that he has information about her family and her brother. She's even more confused now and doesn't understand anything. The next day, she goes back to school and the results are supposed to be out and posted in the hallways. It's total chaos, and all the department sections are crowded together. Then one of the guys, a classmate, comes over acting all pitiful and asks to borrow some money. To make sure she listens, he starts flattering her. And it actually works. She agrees to bring him the money the next day. She tells him she needs to check her results first, just to be sure. But the other students are making a mess, so he tells her not to worry and yells at everyone to clear the way. Looks like the guys in that department are all confident and smooth. Anyway, our girl Jay is celebrating because she passed and got an 84.5. But then she remembers Sai Inu and their deal. She freaks out because he's the only one in the whole department who got a full 100. He comes up behind her, grabs her, and says, "Gotcha." She's confused, like, "How'd you do that, you slacker?" He tells her he's actually a genius, and when he's not feeling motivated, he struggles to study. But when he sets his mind to something, he reaches it. He reminds her not to forget their deal, then walks away. Enter Yuri, asking her why she didn't reply to his message. He's really upset. Since she doesn't have an answer, she does a see Inu move and runs away. When she gets to the classroom, she bumps into Kyer. She grabs her bag and tries to leave, still awkward about what happened the night before. But he stops her. Before he can say anything, she shushes him so no one finds out. When she spots Sai Inu, she uses him as an excuse and goes to talk to him. They speak quietly, very discreetly, because the rest of the students are now totally focused on them and eavesdropping like crazy. Then Sai Inu, being the big mouth that he is, blurts out their deal and tells everyone that Jay is supposed to kiss someone today. All the guys get hyped, and each one starts prepping himself. She screams, "My reputation! Are you kidding me?" and hits Sai Inu for causing all this. Then the guys agree that whoever she chooses will get dealt with by the rest, so each one tries to outshine the others, so she picks him. Our boys are standing quietly like, aren't we good enough for you or what? Kyer shuts everyone up and tells them Jay will choose whoever she wants, and no one should pressure her. The most excited of all is Yuri, especially when she starts walking toward him. Kyer notices and gets jealous, but then she surprises them all. She goes to David and kisses him on the cheek, because he's the only one asleep and not involved in this drama at all. She promises him she'll explain later. The guys gather around David and give him a proper beatdown. Suddenly, she gets a message from Percy, asking her to meet him at the mall today, and not to tell anyone. She rushes over, but when she arrives, he calls her and says he can't meet her after all because she didn't follow the agreement and brought people with her. Of course, maximum privacy is needed, and he tells her that all the Toxum guys are watching her. She takes the opportunity to ask him if Felix's brother changed. He says yes. She's shocked, because they all thought he was dead. He tells her it's a long story, and he'll explain when they meet. Then she asks him again, "Are you my brother?" And he tells her, "Your brother has been by your side this whole time, but you just haven't realized it." She starts crying hard, clearly emotional. The guys jump in like, "Who's talking to you and upsetting you like this? We're going to find him and sort him out right now." She yells at them, telling them to stay out of her business and stop spying on her. She tells them she was here to meet Percy, but he didn't show up because of them. And of course, when they hear his name, everyone is stunned. They go back home and bring out the photos. Felix points to one of them and she confirms, "Yes, that's Percy." It becomes clear the guys are hiding something big. They finally agree to tell her now. We learned that back in the day, there was a crew made up of Yuri, Kyer, Kars, and Percy. One day, Percy decided they should all go out driving. They were all nervous because none of them really knew how to drive. After hanging out, Kars wanted to leave quickly because they had taken his brother's car without permission, but Percy insisted they stay a bit longer. On the way back, they got into a fight, and suddenly, they had a car crash. Yuri and Kyer managed to jump out of the car. The rest got thrown from it, and they managed to save Kars, but Percy was nowhere to be found. They thought he had died. Now, the guys suspect that Percy is back for revenge against Kars for what happened. That's why he's trying to get close to Jay. He might use her, so they beg her to stay away from him. Either way, they promise to protect her and won't let anyone hurt her. So Flexi yells at them because that's his brother, and Jay feels for him and reassures him that if he talks to her, she'll tell him. When she gets home, she's tense and overthinks everything until Percy calls her. She tells him she knows the truth and asks if he's using her to get back at Gars. He swears he's a decent guy and would never do that, and that soon she'll know the full truth. She ends up staying up all night, so the next day she falls asleep in class. Koki takes advantage and snaps a pic of her laughing. Suddenly, she wakes up and catches him, chasing him around to get the phone back. Since the guy's super tall, it's not easy. He keeps dodging her, while all the other guys laugh, except Yuri, who's clearly jealous. Eventually, she manages to grab the phone and deletes the story, but realizes there are other photos of her. She's visibly upset and jealous and wants to get away from him, so she grabs her bag and sits on the other side next to Yuri. Then Kyer says, "I'm always behind you," and sits next to her too like, "You're not escaping me." They stay like that, playing musical chairs until the teacher walks in. She ends up having to sit in the middle, but still nudges her chair toward Yuri, who uses the chance to get closer. Of course, Koki won't let them be, so he edges closer too. Where's the discipline, the morals, in this class? When the lesson starts, the teacher talks about a certain university, and all the students get excited, except Jay, who has no clue what's going on. Yuri explains that the school is arranging a visit to that university so students can get a feel for it, and if they like it, they can enroll. Anyone who wants to go has to fill out a form, so Jay takes one. Koki's asleep, so she tosses his paper on his hand. Clearly, she's not a fan. Sweet Yuri tells her to take advantage while he's asleep and get revenge. He hands her a pen, and she looks at Koki and says, "God made you this handsome, so you deserve this." She draws a horrible mustache on him. The class bursts into laughter. When he wakes up, everyone goes quiet. He asks Jay if she did something, and she says, "Of course not." But once he sees his clown face on the phone, he tells her, "I'm gonna get you." Yuri, the good guy, holds her in place so Kyer can draw on her too. She gets mad like, wow, so much for having my back, and Kyer draws her a ridiculous mustache too. Then he goes around to the rest of the laughing students. Meanwhile, Jay meets the guy she lent money to and hands it over. When she asks why he needs it, he says it's an emergency and swears he'll pay her back. He's not a thief. She replies, yeah, you all say that. We'll see. When she gets home, she's shocked to see some classmates there. The bully, Mika, and Ella. And of course, the bully starts picking on her until Gar steps in and yells at her like, "You're seriously gonna insult our girl?" Ella, the sweet little cutie, invites Jay to eat with them, but Jay, feeling jealous, refuses and says she's full. As soon as she turns around, though, she rushes to the table, because of course there's a plate of sweets waiting for her. While eating, she keeps staring at Ella, thinking how beautiful she is without fillers or Botox. She's stunning even when she cries. No wonder all the guys are going crazy over her. Jay feels she could never compete with that, and she's sure Kyer doesn't love her anymore. There's no way he moved on that fast. She's hurt and starts crying just as the maid walks in and asks if the food's that bad. Jay tries to cover it up by saying, "No, I'm crying because it's so delicious." The next day at school, she runs into Cyan, who asks if she's submitted the university form yet. She says not yet. Suddenly, she gets a call from an unknown number and assumes it's Percy. She's sure Cyan is a gossip, and if he finds out, he'll expose everything, so she walks away to answer. Turns out it's the guy she lent money to. Again, he says he needs more money because he's in big trouble. When she asks for his address, he says, Kingsland. Yuri happens to walk by, and when he hears that name, he freezes. The bigger shock comes when he learns Jay wants to go there alone. He stops her and insists on going instead, but she refuses and says, "Nope, I'm going with you." When they get there, the guard at the entrance recognizes Yuri. Clearly, this place holds some secrets. They hand over their phones and go inside, where they meet a guy in a weird outfit nicknamed the Tiger. Turns out he owns the place and is surprised to see Yuri after so long. He says, "Good thing you brought your girl so she can see what's up," and starts chatting with Jay. She's scared, holding tight onto Yuri's arm, refusing to let go. We learn that the place is for gambling, and those who lose and owe money have to fight in fast-paced battles. Yuri asks about his friend's debt so he can pay and leave, but the Tiger refuses and says, "You know the rules. If you want to take him, you have to fight in his place." Jay begs him not to, but Yuri insists. He asks their friend to take her away and keep her safe because what's about to happen is serious. Jay follows him, and the Tiger leads them to a VIP area with food. The cold friend starts stuffing his face while Jay's upset, thinking about Yuri. She says, "I can't eat a bite until I know he's okay." The Tiger, being a smug jerk, tries to flirt with her, and she's not having it until he mentions he's an old friend of her cousin's and also knows Kyer. That piques her interest, and she starts eating like, "Okay then, spill the tea, don't leave me hanging." He tells her that Kyer and the gang used to hang out there all the time until he and Yuri got into a fight about a girl, and nobody came back after that. Since Jay loves gossip, she grabs the snacks to listen and enjoy. But her friend embarrasses her by saying, "Guess you're not really hungry, you're just scared for Yuri." She remembers Yuri is probably in the ring right now, so she runs off to see him. Meanwhile, Koki is sitting with his friends with tons of food, and he's saved some for her. When he calls her, her phone is off, and he gets worried. His friends notice and say, "Why do you care so much? Why are you so tense?" So he yells at them to cover things up and demands they find out where she is, since they've hacked her phone. He's shocked when he learns she's with the Tiger. Meanwhile, Yuri is already up in the ring, and we find out his first time there was back when he fought Kyer over a girl. Yuri had held back and taken the fall from the very first hit just to let Kyer win, but this time he's not backing down. Now he's fired up for her, and with one move, he wins the match. Well, he's a badass husband after all. After that, he heads straight to Jay, who's a total mess, falling apart and deeply upset over him. She grabs the guy who caused all this drama and starts beating him up. When Yuri notices, he pulls the cold guy away by his shirt like, "Move, we need to talk." As soon as he walks away, he hugs Jay and reassures her that he's fine and won't fight again, for her. Then he tells her the same story the Tiger mentioned and confirms that he doesn't love her anymore at all. They're about to leave, but the Tiger stops them and lets them know there's still another round, this time against his ideal opponent. He's talking about Koki, who shows up at that exact moment. Koki snaps at the guy who brought them there and grabs Jay to take her away, but she stops him. She asks why he came after her and why he's so concerned. He tells her he's constantly worried when she's not near him, and that this is not the time or place for questions. They need to leave. The men try to block them, but come on, it's Kyer we're talking about. He takes them all down like a beast and makes a run for it, gripping her hand tightly. She notices that the guard at the gate is actually smiling as he watches them, and honestly, so are we. But Yuri, the only one not smiling, stands there alone, feeling like she's slipping away from him too. The next day, everyone gets together because they're going on a university visit. She's upset because she forged her dad's signature on the form. He didn't want her to go. Then she notices that Seekin is clueless and struggling with his tie, so she helps him. The other boys take the opportunity to beg her for help too, and our kind-hearted girl agrees. Yuri sees how she's doing it and tries to tie his own, but messes it up. Suddenly, she notices a kiss mark on one of her classmates' necks, and just before exposing him, he covers it and begs her not to say anything. Then she gets to Yuri, encourages him because he at least tried, but still ties it for him properly. Our girl is living her happiest moment, while Koki is jealous and deliberately ruins his tie, even though he got it right. Then the bus arrives and everyone rushes to get on, except for Koki. He asks her to tie his tie too, and she snaps, "What are you, a baby?" She tells him she saw him tying it fine earlier. He keeps provoking her until she's about to curse him out, but holds her tongue at the last second, so she ends up helping him. Suddenly, she decides to express her feelings for him and ties the knot super tight. Then she pins his ID badge on him and walks off. He follows her, grinning. When Jay gets to the university, she notices a professor with the same surname as her family. She feels like she's seen him before but can't quite remember. She's upset, and the guys get worried. Yuri asks if Percy contacted her again and made her upset, but she denies it. Then Seekin leaves her and goes to sit next to Ruki, my sweetheart. Flexi comes and tells her he got a sports scholarship at this university and thanks her because she was the reason. She celebrates with him, hugs him, and even makes him sit next to her, until Koki comes and moves him aside to sit next to her himself. As always, she's stuck in the middle. I swear she's living the dream. Imagine Yuri on the right and Koki on the left. Peak fantasy. After the conference ends, they leave and Jay sees that same professor again. She's certain now that she knows him. She opens her phone and scrolls through photos until she realizes he's her father. She runs to him. He recognizes her and hugs her, saying he's been waiting for this moment for so long. He asks for her forgiveness for everything he did. Seems like there's something we'll learn later because the director isn't revealing it yet. Then Kyer shows up and pulls her away from him. He tells her father that he'll call the police if he comes near her again, because there was a prior agreement between him and her uncle that her dad would stay away from her. Jay, of course, doesn't understand anything and just wants to go back to her dad, but Kyer the Ice Cube holds her back. Koki gets mad, pushes him away to protect her, and the other guys gather around Jay to comfort her. When she gets home, she yells at her uncle and demands to know the reason they kept her father away. He tells her to wait until tomorrow, because her mother is coming and will explain everything. She screams at him not to let her mom come because she can't stand to see her and runs upstairs. The next day, we find her at Koki's place because she needed someone to vent to and couldn't find anyone else. Like, seriously, where's Yuri? She's surprised at how luxurious the place is and asks whose house it is. He tells her it's his. It's his own house, not borrowed from anyone. He warns her to keep her eyes off it because it belongs to her future husband, and he doesn't like people touching it. She asks about his family, and he tells her his mom died and his jerk of a father immediately married another woman. Koki couldn't take it and kicked them out of the house. Normally it's the other way around, but it looks like Koki is tough and in control. That's why he asks what brought her here. When he feels like she's avoiding the question, he suggests they play truth or dare, starting a round of questions. Whoever doesn't answer gets something drawn on their face. It starts with Koki asking her about her mom, and she tells him she can't stand her and doesn't want to go back to her at all. When it's her turn, she asks him if he could ever make up with Gars in the future. When he stays quiet, she's pleased and draws a mustache on him like last time. Then she asks him about the story behind his earring. He tells her it belonged to his mother, and when Percy died, he was feeling down and went into her room by chance, found it, put it on, and felt like she was still with him, comforting him. When it's his turn again, he asks her about her dad. She tells him she never really got to spend time with him, so he advises her to be careful because he might look nice on the outside, but be evil inside, just like his own dad. He insists all men are Mustafa with a stone heart, and she jokes, "Aren't you one of them?" The questions keep going until their faces are full of doodles. Then Jay asks him about his first love, and we're all shocked when he says it was the bully girl. Our girl is stunned like, "What? How?" He explains that she used to be kind before she changed. She keeps pressing him to find out where the second earring is, and he tells her he gave it to someone. She guesses it's Lila. After that, Koki asks her what she thinks of Yuri. She says he's sweet and treats her kindly, and his presence makes her feel special. Then he asks her what she thinks of him personally, and she says, "You really want me to curse you, huh?" He's thrilled and laughs because now he can go through with the punishment he'd promised. He leans in close, and you know what happens. Our girl seems like she's about to slap him, but she doesn't. The next day she's lost in thought about what happened between them. Suddenly, Koki's brother shows up, beating up one of her classmates for getting too close to his girlfriend. She asks the guys to break it up, but no one does, until Yuri arrives and hits Koki's brother. Koki, of course, can't let that go and punches Yuri, knocking him down. Jay runs to help Yuri and yells at Koki, saying he and his brother are both in the wrong. Koki gets mad too and yells back, realizing she's just like Yuri. That switch up though, they were just all lovey-dovey yesterday. Later, they all sit down to eat, and Yuri thanks Jay for standing up for him. Sion tries to calm things down and tells her Koki is actually a good guy and probably feels bad and will come to apologize. And sure enough, Koki shows up, tells the restaurant owner that he's paying for everyone's food. "Yes, my man, spend it all so I don't find you broke later," and we end up begging together. Then he goes to Yuri and apologizes. The shocker is that Yuri forgives him just like that. Jay is still upset, but Koki tells her he's got connections and will help her reach her father quickly. She tells him, "In that case, you're forgiven, like I could ever stay mad at you." That night, her family is gathered, clearly stressed because they're about to go bankrupt. Her aunt is upset and starts crying when Jay walks in, but they try to keep it under control and tell her everything's fine, then send her away. Her granduncle says the only way to fix the situation is to partner with Yuri's grandfather's company. Everyone is shocked by this suggestion and suspects he might sacrifice Jay and arrange her engagement to Yuri just to secure the deal. That's my personal theory. I hope I'm right or wrong. Whatever. I just want drama. The next day at school, Yuri invites her out to thank her for what she did the day before. Of course she agrees. Who could say no to that red-haired dreamboat? The following day, they meet up. Unfortunately, Jay is totally distracted and not really paying attention to him. He asks what's on her mind, but she dodges the question. He gets upset and tells her, "So you don't trust me enough to talk to me?" She tries to smooth things over and tells him she doesn't want to burden him with silly stuff. She grabs his face, noticing how red it is from being upset, and says, "Your hair wasn't enough? You look like a tomato now." She teases him and almost starts singing, "I'm the red tomato," while he's just frozen, heart racing. But then Koki shows up at that very moment and pulls her away, saying it's about her father. Yuri also grabs her hand, and all of us watching are like, "Can we please get just a quarter of Jay's luck? No complaints ever again." Koki tells her it's about her dad, and she agrees to go with him. Yuri tells her he'll wait for her right there. When they arrive at the university, she asks one of the professors about her father, but the woman refuses to give any info due to confidentiality and tells her he's already traveled and there's no way to catch him now. Jay starts crying, feeling like fate is against her. Koki hugs her, kisses her forehead, and tells her he'll always be by her side. She calms down and returns to Yuri, and we see that everyone in the cafe has left, except Yuri, who's still waiting for her. What a man. He gives her the flower and takes out the ring, which, by the way, is red too, and tells her he can't hide his feelings anymore. Everything's out in the open now, and the choice is hers. He leaves. Jay sits down, thinking it over, totally unsure what to do. We see Jai receiving the ring from Yuri and returning home, staying torn. Should she accept or refuse? Until her aunt walks in. Of course, she respects privacy, but when she spots the ring, she asks her who brought it. Jai tells her, and her aunt says the guy must really love her and wants to marry her. She even checks the ring size and it fits her finger perfectly. Her aunt advises her to think carefully and not rush. A little later, she brings her the phone so she can call her mother. Her mother tells her she's getting married again and wants her to attend the wedding. Jai naturally gets upset and yells at her because her mom never checked in on her and didn't even tell her that her dad had been around and wanted to see her. Jai hangs up and refuses to continue the call, clearly upset. The next day, she asks the maid if her room has been cleaned, saying something is missing. And just her luck, Erds is standing there holding the ring box. He asks her if she's looking for that. He wants to know who gave it to her, and when she says Yuri, he gets angry. He tells her that her dad is back from his trip and that he has his address and phone number. He makes a deal with her. She has to reject Yuri, stay away from her friends in Section A, and transfer to Section E. The next day at school, she finds the guys preparing for the New Year's party. The school is hosting the event at a hotel, but they're all outsiders and weren't invited. The boys decide they won't stay quiet. They'll celebrate at school and decorate their classroom. Jai gets a bit down when she sees the name Ella still on the locker, so Kyer grabs a sticker and covers it up, basically saying, "Whatever you need, I got you, girl." But in his own way. Later, he helps one of his short friends who needs to hang something high up on the tree. Tall guys are necessary, folks. That's why Yuri teases Gila for being short and not able to hang decorations, so he lifts her up and hangs it himself, while she just stands frozen and flustered. One of his friends pulls him away, and Jai looks around at her classmates and realizes that they really are like her family. She gets emotional and starts crying. Kyer sees her and asks what's wrong. She claims something got in her eye. He says she's lying and tells her if she's afraid of anything not to worry, he'll always be by her side. That comforts her. Next is the dance and music competition. Sion, Denzel, and Calix go up and want Jai to join them. They take a break to eat, and Flex tells Jai that Yuri is sitting alone, upset. So she goes over and tries to cheer him up. She even invites him to eat with her, but he refuses. He's happy, though, when she says she liked the ring. They sit and joke around together until Kyer walks in and sees them. He gets jealous, and the smiles vanish. Then there's a whole drama over one big chicken that's gone missing. The guys are baffled. No one saw it or even got a whiff. Everyone starts blaming each other until Jai decides to check everyone's plates. She realizes no one has it. So she says, "Wait, where's Sheehan?" Turns out he's under the table, eating the chicken. He laughs and says, "Sorry guys, I was tempted by her delicious thighs." Jai tells him, "Don't worry, eat up, sweetheart. You're still growing." At that moment, someone from their group brings in an even bigger chicken, and they all get ready to eat. Later, David gives Jai a gift. It's a necklace with her initial. When she thanks him, he tells her he didn't buy it. He just found it outside, and it had her name on it. We then find out Percy was the one who got it and asked David to give it to her. For some reason we'll find out later. Then they play music and start dancing. Sion pulls Jai to dance with them, and they even start teaching her some moves. She begs Kyer to come dance with her, but he refuses because he's enjoying just watching her. Then Yuri gets up to sing, and it's a romantic song. He keeps looking at Jai the whole time, which makes our guy Kyer jealous. Jai notices and keeps glancing at Kyer, which upsets Yuri. He's like, "I'm doing all this for you," and he refuses to finish the song. After that, the next round of competitions begins. The organizers ask the audience to bring specific items. The first person to bring them wins a prize. The first item is chocolate. Calix grabs Mika and says, "Here's my chocolate." And unfortunately, the cringe level is high, but they win. Sion and Jai just let them pass. Then they ask for sweets, and Kyer carries Jai and runs with her, saying, "Here, sweet and sugary." Jai gets super embarrassed, and to make it worse, the prize he gives her is a packet of instant noodles. She yells at him, but sweet Yuri calms her down and sits her next to him. Then they ask everyone to bring what they love most. Yuri picks up Jai and runs with her again. Calix, too, carries Mika. The event hosts are clearly weirded out, like, is Jai the only one everyone's lifting or what? Suddenly, in a moment of silence, Yuri confesses his love for her in front of everyone. Jai gets shy and runs to sit next to Sion. Next comes the gift exchange segment. Honestly, the gifts are just sad. Like a set of hangers, a ladle, a mini grater. The best gift goes to Mika because Flex gave her lipstick, applied it for her, and asked her to kiss his cheek. She leaves a mark on him. The second best gift goes to Kyer. a pair of shorts that Jai bought for him. Everyone laughs because they match what he's already wearing. Unfortunately, Jai's gift is awful. She thinks Kyer got it for her, but it turns out that Jerk Sion was behind it. She runs after him and beats him up. When she comes back, she sees the group all gathered together, and it hits her that they really are her family. She gets emotional and starts crying. Kyer notices and says, "Let me guess. Something got in your eye again?" She tells him she's just happy. He says, "May God make you even happier," and invites her to rejoin the celebration. In episode 16, JJ wakes up at home, still groggy and disoriented. She remembers celebrating the night before, but most of it is a blur. All she recalls is that the party was at home. Some guests left early while others stayed behind. They had been drinking heavily downstairs. Yuri was feeling down, but everyone was enjoying themselves, especially JJ, who was laughing and bonding with them. As memories slowly return, JJ becomes embarrassed. She realizes something important may have happened, but can't remember it clearly. She recalls sitting and eating with Say and Felix before others joined in for drinks. Yuri stayed focused on her, looking sad and distant, unsure of how to approach her because of his feelings. As the night went on, she kept drinking, surprising everyone. Though she initially refused to drink, the others encouraged her, and she eventually drank instead of Yuri. Even though she wasn't enjoying it, she wanted his attention. Yuri became more drawn to her, but JJ got increasingly drunk, barely able to walk. Eventually, everyone went to sleep after a wild night. Hungry, JJ got up to look for food. That's when Yuri approached her and talked about his confession at the party. He told her she looked beautiful, even when upset. She denied everything and thought he was drunk, but he believed she was avoiding him because she was attracted to him and didn't want to admit it. He insisted he was serious about his feelings. Then he knelt down, held her hand, and asked her to be with him. He was trying to control his emotions, but he desperately wanted her love in return. This shocked JJ, and she instinctively pulled away. But he held her hand again and asked, seriously, this time, if she would marry him. JJ was stunned. She didn't expect the conversation to escalate into a marriage proposal. He wasn't seeing her as just a friend anymore. He wanted her to be his wife. She assumed he was drunk, but he assured her he was sober and serious about wanting to be with her forever. JJ told him she was overwhelmed and couldn't give him an answer right now. They were still too young. How could he talk about marriage? Yuri walked away, heartbroken. JJ stood in shock, replaying everything in her mind. She remembered seeing Yuri and Kyer talking the night before, upset with one another. She wondered how that conversation might be connected to the proposal. Later, she went downstairs and found that her grandmother had come to visit. The family welcomed her warmly. Then Sakan arrived unexpectedly, and JJ was surprised but happy. He seemed kind and gentle. When someone suggested they were in a relationship, he denied it, but JJ quickly shut him up, especially since everyone, including Angelo, was watching closely. Angelo wasn't pleased with what was going on. He believed JJ should be focused on school, not relationships. He cared about her deeply and tried to take her aside. Meanwhile, Say grew close to JJ's grandmother, who adored him. Angelo later confided in his sister, expressing guilt for being harsh on JJ, but he also wanted to know who gave her the ring she was wearing. She didn't want him or anyone else interfering. Despite everything, the partnership between their families was moving forward to avoid bankruptcy. JJ served juice to her grandmother, who remained fond of Say. Christmas preparations continue. They all gather, and Kyfer's grandmother begins handing out gifts. JJ joins them and notices I, who seems happy to be included. But JJ receives a message from Kate, thanking her for standing by him and congratulating them on Christmas. C cheers everyone up, and Keelix also sends his Christmas greetings, making JJ feel genuinely happy to be surrounded by warmth and kindness. Then suddenly, Yuri sends her a simple, Merry Christmas message. Unlike the others, he doesn't say much or joke with her. She's disappointed. She had been waiting for something more heartfelt. Still, his message makes her smile. Meanwhile, Yuri eats with his family, quietly reflecting on everything. Then it's time to open presents. Everyone receives thoughtful gifts and celebrates joyfully. But when JJ opens hers, she finds a white dress, stunning but shocking. She doesn't know what to think, and the others worry about how she'll react, knowing she's still young. A week passes without JJ showing up. Her aunt and grandmother prepare to visit her, but JJ appears wearing the tight white dress, feeling uncomfortable. Angelo senses something's wrong and acts more nervous than usual. JJ doesn't understand why. As New Year's Eve begins, especially the celebration in Fendi, Yuri predicts she'll be there. The party begins, and everyone meets Yuri's family. JJ is introduced to them all and tries to enjoy herself. She sits down and finds Kyer nearby. Recognizing him instantly, she lights up, until he speaks coldly, clearly affected by recent events. She goes to get a drink just as the party welcomes a singer to perform. The song is one that touches JJ's heart, reminding her of a moment Kyer sang it to her. She realizes he understands her like no one else. She tells Yuri, then leaves, overwhelmed. Yuri follows her and proposes again, this time in front of everyone. JJ is shocked. He had just returned from Japan, and now he's asking her to dance. Their dance is graceful, yet the atmosphere is tense. Everyone is watching. Kyer stands to the side, heartbroken. As JJ and Yuri continue dancing, emotions mix, joy and sadness. Kyer knows he's losing her, again. Yuri drinks to drown his feelings, and JJ tries to pretend everything is fine. When the dance ends, they welcome the new year and celebrate Yuri's birthday. JJ goes on stage and sings him a birthday song. Kyer watches, devastated. Soon after, the truth comes out. Both families are entering a partnership, and JJ and Yuri are now considered a couple. The celebration continues, but JJ feels blindsided and betrayed. Kyer is shocked. Yuri can't explain. JJ is forced to go with the doctor, her family deeply upset. They believe Yuri took advantage of her vulnerability. Kyer and JJ are both hurt. Yuri, however, is happy. He finally has the girl he's loved for so long. JJ tries to keep up appearances, but she sees through it. She realizes her family and friends all knew about the engagement, even Kyer. Feeling abandoned, she leaves the party in tears, not sure if it's a dream or reality. How could a marriage be arranged without her knowing? Angelo finds her crying. He admits he wanted to explain but never got the chance. He regrets it deeply. They had no other option. Her family's survival depended on this partnership. JJ is in shock. Angelo, of all people, should have known better than to make decisions for her. She says she made many mistakes trying to fix things, but how could they force her into marriage? She's still young. She wants to study, work, and live her life. They insist the marriage isn't happening immediately. They'll just get to know each other. Still, the ring on her finger feels like a trap. Her aunt sympathizes with her, knowing she never wanted this, but everyone else seems to think this is best for her. People say it's just an engagement, not a big deal, but JJ doesn't feel that way. Don't blame Angelo, they say. The company was collapsing, and this was the only way. Kyer knows everything now, and deep down, he realizes he doesn't want to let JJ go like he did before, but staying might destroy his relationship with both Yuri and Now. So he chooses to step back from the battle. Still, when their song is played, it breaks him. He admits to himself that he was always afraid of becoming like his father, cold and hurtful. But what he didn't expect was to love with the same depth and recklessness as his mother, hiding it behind a mask. No matter what, he can't walk away from JJ again. Determined, he confronts her directly. JJ is caught off guard and tries to walk away, but he follows and asks her plainly, "Do you love Yuri?" She doesn't have an answer. She's overwhelmed, torn, and silent. So Kyer gives her a choice: answer me or kiss me. Still, she stays quiet. She only cries. And in that painful silence, Kyer kisses her. It might be goodbye, or something more. She pushes him away, furious and confused. She curses him, not understanding how he can behave this way in such chaos, but Kyer only kisses her again, deeply. Neither of them can hold back their tears until, ding, the elevator opens and strangers walk in. The moment is shattered. They quickly move apart, pretending to be distant, though everything between them still burns. JJ thinks of her family who always protected her. Kyer is haunted by his secret. They're lost in their own minds, in everything that led them here. JJ walks away, leaving Kyer behind, crying in silence. Just then, Yuri arrives and gently invites her to come with him. Everyone's waiting. She agrees, dazed, and follows him. He takes her to the rooftop, where she's surprised by how beautiful the setting is. He encourages her to smile, to laugh, to enjoy this moment. They walk together, and she's introduced to the Hanichi family because she agreed to Yuri's proposal. They toast with drinks, smiling, but inside, JJ is uneasy. She excuses herself to go to the bathroom, but Kyer intercepts her. He pulls her aside again. JJ is confused. Why is he doing this now? Kyer too is lost. He insists he's no longer trying to control her, but confesses he's terrified that she'll marry someone else when she still has feelings for him. He sees it in her eyes. She's scared of marriage because her heart belongs to someone else. Kyer lays it all out. I love you, and I'm not hiding it anymore. JJ is stunned. The fireworks show begins, but Kyer has one more confession, something he's held in for too long. She looks into his eyes, then suddenly pulls him into a kiss, right in the middle of the bursting sky. Kyer is overwhelmed. He kisses her back, harder, deeper. Their love burns brighter than it ever has. They're completely wrapped in each other. But then their families arrive. Amori notices her son looking heartbroken, alone, waiting for someone who might never return. Meanwhile, JJ stays in Kyer's arms, and they cry together, this time from happiness. Even without Yuri, even without explanations, JJ knows where her heart truly belongs. And Kyer, he doesn't stop her. He doesn't hold back. They stay together through the night as the celebrations unfold, while Yuri, in silence, watches his dreams fall apart. This is how Season 1 ends. Will JJ stay with Kyer? Or will she choose Yuri and the expectations of her family? So don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. You won't want to miss what happens next.